Today on Houston Life, Wine Club Wednesday returns with a bottle of sustainable red you can buy locally.
And the best houseplants for beginners. Are you all speaking to me? We've got top picks for beautiful plants that thrive indoors.
Plus, Lauren Kelly is chatting with the stars of NBC's Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD ahead of tonight's new episodes.
And the difference between yoga and aerial yoga. We're going to be explaining to you how those healthy benefits are going to help you throughout the new year. Much more and all that today on Houston Life.
Is that for real?
Live from Studio B at KPRC Channel 2. Houston Life starts now.
We made it to Hump Day, folks. Welcome to Houston Life on this Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. I'm Derek Shore.
And I'm Courtney Savala. Good to have you here on this Wednesday. It's always a bright, I think it perks everybody up on a Wednesday, right? Because you're thinking...
I didn't turn my ringer off. That's Brandon's cat noise when he texts me. Hi, Brandon. I'll call you later. A little busy right now. It's always great to see you no matter what day of the week it is, Courtney.
What day of the week it is. Do you know you do a television show every day at 3 o'clock?
Yeah, some
and
days
usually
I
you don't have that on, ever.
I don't.
What's happening?
I don't know.
Between the large jug of water and the cat sounds.
Oh, did you know? Well, I guess now you do, that I've been trying to drink more water.
Trying.
My friend Dana Lacone, hi Dana, I love you, got me this jug so I would remember, and it has all the times of the day, like 7 a.m. through, why are you laughing already?
Because, bless your heart, it's taken you a week to drink to 3 p.m.
It's true. It's true. It's tough.
It is.
It's such a simple thing, drinking water, and it is so difficult.
I just think maybe we should have started off with baby steps. Like maybe it should have been like 20 ounces one week, 40 ounces the next, and then you get to the Big Daddy gallon and a half.
The Big Daddy gallon and a half.
You know, I just feel like that was a lot from somebody to, but you do drink a lot of water. You just have these tiny water bottles.
Yeah. Kid size. There are some days, though, when it will be noon. I think it happened earlier this week, actually. It'll be noon, and I'll realize I haven't had any water during the day.
How do you function?
I ask myself that question every day.
You don't eat or drink anything, and it's like 3 o'clock, and you're thinking, why do I have this headache? I don't feel good.
I function on my love for my job.
Yes.
So Brandon always will have a large thing of water on the nightstand before bed.
A glass, you mean, by a thing?
No, he'll have this big Nalgene thing, and the lid is never on, right?
Oh, the top lid with
top.
the very like wide mouth.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
that's why I don't buy those Nalgene bottles anymore, because I just pour it all over.
well, it's such a wide mouth, but also, to me, it just kind of bugs me that on the nightstand there will be this open container of water. And I've always said, like, I'm not sure you should be drinking water that's been sitting there all night. Well, there could be an accident. You could knock it over, and
Knock it
there would
over,
be...
something could crawl in.
Oh, I didn't
My
even
worst
think
fear.
about that.
Worst fear. You know, it could be a cockroach looking for water.
Well, but also think about all of the particles that hang around your home. I mean, household dust is made up of all kinds of things. Dead skin cells, cosmic dust that comes from the universe. That's the truth. That's true.
I love cosmic dust, though.
Yeah, well, cosmic
glitter.
dust is every... I put some on this morning. Just spray it on.
It just sounds so good.
So listen, so there's this article on healthy.com. One of our producers, Aaron Montoya, found this article, and I was like, thank you, I need to share this with Brandon. So
Yes.
water left in an open glass can collect dust, debris, and, you know, again, household dust has all kinds of things in it.
But look how happy this woman is sleeping right there with
she
her
has a
glass of
smile
water.
on her face.
Well, here's my deal. This is what I do. I have these like blender bottles. I love these.
It's so small.
Well, it's 20 ounces, and I think I'm on my 5th refill here. But you can close the top. So is that bad? Because I'll use one of these, you know, throughout the day. Tomorrow I'll have a different one. You know, clean it, whatever. But it's okay to.
I mean, I think
close
the
it?
takeaway is even closed containers grow bacteria because when you put your mouth on the bottle and you drink out of it, you have, I mean, all kinds of things can fall into the water. Nasal discharge, any...
Oh. You just make it sound so grody.
Oh, I thought I made it sound really good and scientific.
No.
Nasal discharge.
I just think it's the discharge word.
What
do
do you want me to say?
Nasal fluid?
Droppings that come out of your nose.
Yeah,
like the
nasal
droppings that sprayed all over the set yesterday when you made me choke on my glove that I was eating.
Oh, but your glove was so... I was more concerned about your braces.
Thank you so much. My adult braces, never again.
So, moral of the story is, don't have a glass of water uncovered? I don't know. What's the takeaway?
My notes don't actually have that. I think either way, if you're leaving your cup of water open, it's collecting dust. If you're closing it, then more bacteria will grow. Either way, it's bad news. Wash your water bottles.
Yes.
More than...
What about the people that reuse water bottles? Like the plastic bottles, you know, that you buy a bottle of water somewhere and you refill the bottled water that you purchased?
Yeah, what about that?
I don't know. I think that's bad too. I used to do that all the time.
Well, I just try to avoid using plastic bottles in general.
Totally.
When I was a kid in the 80s, if you needed a drink, you
went
would
to
go
the
to the
faucet.
fountain. I feel like bottled water is the biggest scam going. And some of these companies, it's not spring water. It's literally water out of a tap that they bottle and sell to you for $3. And don't we have enough plastic in the oceans already?
Yeah.
So I use a reusable.
We use a reusable
I
one
avoid
too.
plastic single use as much as I can.
Yeah, my kids use about 17 glasses a day.
Oh, and they leave them all over the house?
Why?
To collect dust
Yes,
that they will then drink.
I mean, here's the thing. Today I had a Zoom interview that I had to shoot at home for a segment that's coming up a little bit later. And I go to set down the laptop and setting up the lights. I'm thinking, what is all this? Why is this all wet? Somebody spilled water somewhere. God knows how long ago. It was everywhere in little nooks and crannies, under books and things. I mean, savages.
It's savages. Brittany Burt, the wedding that I attended last weekend, I woke up the next day in the hotel room. There was an open bottle of red wine on the nightstand next to Brandon.
You make that sound like a bad thing. No, I was kidding.
Okay. And I was like, Brandon, why did you leave? I mean, you could have knocked it over in the middle of the night. There would have been red wine everywhere.
Right.
Well,
disaster.
Apparently, I'm the one who took the lid off.
Oh.
I know.
Well,
see, I was so careful.
I know.
So how many cups of coffee are you on today?
Oh, well, 2. I usually have 2 cups a day.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, if I'm driving and I have a little time, I might stop for one, or on a Saturday or Sunday weekend, I'll have a couple more, but usually it's 2 and I'm done.
That's good. I do all of those shots of espresso, but I've only had 1 cup today, though.
That's good, because usually you're like a quad, right?
Quad.
On the rocks.
Quadruple on the rocks. Coffee. But there's a new study saying that if we drink coffee, we'll live a longer life. Is that right?
I believe it. And here's the thing. I mean, the coffee consumption, we've said this a long time. I mean, everything is good in moderation, or some things are good in moderation, right? This is a study from the Journal of Nutrition. Moderate consumption of basically 3 to 4 cups of Italian style coffee was associated with lower risks of mortality. Oh. So we're basically talking about espresso brew, right? Not like a regular drip.
Well, I'm assuming because, I mean, the pure coffee, right, is... The problem with coffee, in my opinion, is that there's now so much stuff in it.
Yeah.
If you're drinking a cup of coffee that's 600 calories, that's probably a bad thing because coffee has like 5 calories in it.
Yeah, or there's people that, you know, like coffee with their cream. You know, it's mostly cream.
Sugar, all of the things that you add into it.
Well, what's interesting is the study followed more than 20,000 people for 8 years, and that's where they got the study and the results of immortality.
And they found that people lived longer.
Yeah.
Huh.
I know.
Interesting.
Drink more coffee. Just don't drink too much.
I didn't grow up drinking coffee for religious reasons. And then when I got to college, I remember one night at UCLA in the library, it was midnight, and I could barely stay awake. Once I discovered coffee, I was like, oh, wow, this magical juice helps me actually ace my assignments.
Yeah. It helped you ace your assignments?
Well, it kept me awake so I didn't fall asleep during the exam the next day.
Okay, okay. It's good. I think you know, coffee's not a great flavor, right? I mean, I think you have to acquire the taste for coffee.
Bitter and burned, like my personality. Hey, here's an interesting fact. You might have Razer blades living in the walls of your old home. So if your home was built before 1970, this is a real thing. So check out this Razer blade. It used to be back in the day, this is according to a Reader's Digest article, that these double-edged blades, people would build homes with a little slot in their medicine cabinet because you couldn't.
Yeah.
So people would burn their trash sometimes, but the solution was to have a medicine cabinet with a little slot in the back. So you would dump your discarded blades, and then it would end up in the walls of the homes.
Oh.
I know. So if you're doing a renovation of your home,
right,
and
you're doing a
ripping
tear
out your
down.
bathroom
Yeah.
walls, people are like, oh my gosh, why are all these razor blades in there? That could be the reason why.
Interesting.
Like the scene out of a horror film, right?
I know. Could you imagine knocking down a wall and seeing a pile of razor blades?
Yeah.
That would be trippy.
It happened to me yesterday.
No.
Sorry, it's a bad joke.
Yeah, no, it didn't. But it would be really weird.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway.
For sure.
Anyway, very strange. Drink your water.
Okay.
Hydrate.
Drink your juice, Shelby.
Okay, still to come. Whatever happened to Shelby? Ever wonder what drive-through workers see in people's cars? The crazy responses on one Reddit thread.
And some good responses from our viewers as well. Plus, Joe Sam is hanging out with a group that's taking yoga to all new heights. Houston Life will be back in just 2 minutes.
What you know about me? Just what the people say.
Welcome back to Houston Life on this Wednesday. So, Courtney, you know, recently Brandon and I moved into a temporary place while we built our house. And we hired movers, but inevitably, there's always like the little bits of stuff that you don't think about, right?
Right.
Also, you all know that we have a ton of houseplants. And so there were so many plants that were, you know, sort of delicate and difficult to move.
And big.
And big, like this one, clearly the back of the car would not close. But the trickiest ones were the spiky ones, like the cactus plants.
Uh-huh.
Look at that. We have a San Pedro cactus that's almost as tall as we are. We wrapped it in bubble wrap. I learned how to do that on Houston Life.
Perfect.
But getting that into the car, though, I felt so silly, you know, getting stuffed into the car, sort of positioning myself holding these plants while Brandon drove.
Right.
Have you ever been in that situation?
Well, I mean, I put myself in that. I took home the pregnant mannequin from here. Remember the pregnant mannequin that we would have from the mall, and then it was sort of like randomly placed throughout.
I do remember.
I took that home because we needed it for a Halloween decoration. It was like a whole thing. So anyway.
Did you turn it into Freddy Krueger?
Yeah.
Like a pregnant Freddy Krueger?
Well, it was big clothes. You couldn't tell it was a pregnant mannequin.
Okay.
So it was perfect, but it was just really
Not weird at all.
driving with that in my car. And then I think like there was no hands or something. I don't know, something very strange. Very weird. But here's the question. It was posted in an Ask Reddit forum where people who have worked the drive-thru, what's the weirdest thing you've seen in someone's car?
Oh, so like the workers at a fast food place.
Yes, yes. And the answers range from alpacas, totally random, to 50 cartons of eggs, to a giant grandfather clock in the back seat.
I'm sure that you would probably see a lot. I mean, some people's cars, like even in the parking lot, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is there?
There's a
Some
lot
people just
happening.
use their back seat as like a dumping ground.
Right.
Remember that time I worked the drive-thru though?
Oh, I do remember that. It was such a sweet surprise.
That was so much fun. I went out to Freddy's and I served up some burgers and fries, shakes and all that. I think we have some video from it. Oh, it's just for you. Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
All right, go ahead and pull forward.
Okay.
We'll have it ready for you.
All right, thank you.
Sounds kind of familiar.
Gosh, sounds so familiar. Was that too much? Maybe I ordered too much food. People at work, they'd want to eat it. I know, get more food, always better.
Courtney?
Derek, what are you doing here?
What are you doing here? I thought your voice sounded familiar. I mean, I guess I was
knew?
so distracted by the fact that you were there that I didn't even look in your back seat to see what was in there.
Thankfully.
What's in there right now?
Nothing. Nothing.
Well, and if you live in Houston, you know car break-ins are a big deal, so you don't want to ever keep anything in your car. Our producer, Heather, was talking about how she's been through like a dozen beta fish, and in college, when she would come home, like move out of the dorm to come home with family, she would carry her beta fish like in the console, sloshing around.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do that, right? How else are you going to do it? You don't want it to roll around.
I don't know. I mean, all kinds of things people are transporting. So, as always, we want to hear from you. A lot of comments already coming in on this one. What's the weirdest thing you've ever transported in your car? Just visit our Houston Life Facebook page to share your stories, and then we will share them later on in today's show.
That's right. Okay, well, yoga is said to be great for the mind and body, and at Republic Aerial Yoga downtown, well, they have different ways that you can explore this type of workout.
Interesting. All right, Joe Sam is finding out exactly how it's done. Joe, tell us what they're about.
Well, Derek, Courtney, this is here going to be really making sure that you relieve that stress, but at the same time focusing on those health benefits like back pain, any type of breathing issues that you may have. So what they're in right now is called the downward dog. I have my friend here, Ivan, who's one of the instructors here. He's going to show me how to do this traditionally on the ground. and then we're going to talk about how we're going to be taking that into the aerial part of it all to really help out with those health benefits. So, Ivan, tell us what we're doing.
All right. So the first thing you can do is you want to come into all four, hands about shoulder width distance, if not mat width. Yeah. And then same with your feet. You're going to tuck your toes in, tuck your toes under. And then you're going to press through your hands, press through your feet, and then lift the hips up into the ceiling. Come into your downward facing dog, upside down V.
You feel it too. I feel it all in my hamstrings. Now, we're getting ready to move into the aerial portion of this here because we see people do this all the time with traditional yoga. But you guys are making sure that we're taking that to the air. Talk about what it helps out when we're doing it aerial-wise.
Yeah, so like this is a lot for a lot of people, you know, especially if you have tight hamstrings. With the silk, we're relieving the pressure of having to press yourself upside down and still achieve that same shape.
So we have the silks here. So let's go ahead and get ready to do this. Now, you guys remember I did this a little bit earlier on a few weeks ago, and we got used to being up in the air. So we're incorporating yoga into the silks now. So we're going to get ready to get into that same move that we did on the ground, but incorporating that in the air. And you said it helps out a lot with the spinal cord.
Exactly.
All right, because I need some help with mine.
Yep, all you do is you tie the rope into your hip bone. You're going to come into your tippy toe. Going to fold in half.
All right.
You're going to find the floor again. And you come into the same position.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I feel it. Take one foot off. Maybe take both feet off. That feels okay.
There we
extend the legs.
There we go. All right, when we come back, we're going to be showing you some more yoga moves that you can also incorporate into this aerial workout and how it's going to help out with more of those health benefits and how you can do this yourselves. Courtney and Derek, I'm feeling the burn.
All right, Joe. We'll see you in a little bit.
And still to come on Houston Life, get the best bang for your buck with this week's featured red wine you can buy locally.
And no green thumb, no problem. Find out the best house plants that are easy to keep alive. Stay right there. Houston Life, we'll be right back.
For many people, having houseplants that actually stay alive can seem impossible, but it's easier than you might think. You just need to find one that requires little to no maintenance. Ashley Grubb, founder of Mustard Seed Farm and Market in Richmond, has tips for finding the best houseplants for beginners.
Hi, my name is Ashley Grubb, and I'm the founder of Mustard Seed Farm and Market in Richmond, Texas. We are a work program for adults who have disabilities. Seeing the joy that growing plants brings to people, and also wanting to be able to provide jobs for adults who have disabilities, who've aged out of the school system, we thought that marrying the two would be a great option. I wanted to talk to you today about some of my favorite low-maintenance houseplants. My 4 favorites are here. My very first favorite, this is called a prayer plant, or a maranta. These are really interesting to watch because they move throughout the day. In the morning, the leaves will be down, but then by the end of the day, they'll raise them up. So they're interactive, they're fun to watch. They grow very quickly, so you get a reward for your effort. They don't require a whole lot of water. They can grow in relatively low light. So they're a great option. Another one, if you're interested in growing succulents, a Haworthia would be a great option. They come in a wide variety of shapes and colors, and the common thing between all of them is they're very low water. If you've got a windowsill and a little pot, they'll be happy. Maybe water them about once a week, and they should be good to go. My 3rd favorite, this is a ZZ plant. This one specifically is called a raven, but most of the time you'll see them, they'll be bright green instead of kind of a blackish green. These might be one of the most forgiving houseplants you'll ever come across. They can be okay if you forget to water them once in a while. They can grow in very low light. They require almost no care. They're also very slow growing, so pick the size that you want, and that's probably about as big as it's going to be for the life of the plant. The 4th plant that I recommend trying, this is a pilea, or a Chinese money plant. These guys are really trendy. You've probably seen pictures of them on Instagram or Pinterest. The great thing about them is they're also really easy to grow. This I would call a great bathroom plant. You can grow it in a windowsill, you can grow it on a countertop. They're relatively easy. Water it again maybe once a week, and just a room with a bright window should be enough light for them. One of the most common questions that I get asked for people who are just learning to grow houseplants or are trying out a new plant for the first time is how often do I water it? Generally speaking, for a small plant in a small pot like this, I would give it about a quarter cup of water once a week. For a larger plant in a pot like this, I would give it maybe a half a cup of water once a week. I hope you enjoy growing some new houseplants. Thank you.
So I'm taking notes. The ZZ plant is apparently one that she basically says you can't kill.
Yeah.
So that's probably
and
one
the
I
prayer
should get.
plant, that's a beautiful one. Ashley Grubb, by the way, thank you so much for those tips. I think the Chinese money plant is so beautiful. That's one of the last ones with the little leaves on them.
So pretty.
How's your houseplant collection coming along?
Well, you know, it's actually not too bad. You know, you gave me that orchid.
I did give you that orchid.
Yes, and then I've got another plant from my friends over at Renovate, and that's been several months now, and then my ponytail, but well, who snuck those in?
Oh, no.
These are really bad.
Wow.
My anthurium plant needs some love.
Well, the
or
truth
just
hurts
be
sometimes.
resurrected.
Hey, the orchid, of course, they like bright filtered light. A lot of people make the mistake of overwatering them, and the ice
cube. Not a thing.
No, I mean it is a
Shocking.
thing that people do that. But orchids are tropical plants; they don't like to be cold. So if you're watering them by melting an ice cube on their leaves, they don't like that. It puts them into shock.
Yeah,
it can kill them.
So far, you know, it's still alive. So
Okay.
that's good. But the ZZ plant apparently is. She basically said you can't kill it.
Well, you have those dead plants and those planters in your backyard, so at least you have a vessel for them.
I do.
Our plants are being, well...
Do you have sitters?
Well, we sort of do. This house, Evan, because it's a philodendron evansii, but we call her Evan.
Okay.
That's actually at our apartment while we're, you know, in between homes. Oh, and this plant on the left from the floriculture. Natalia got me this plant when Brandon had COVID. That's a super easy plant to keep alive, but we do have plants that are, you know, out being babysat by friends. A lot of succulents.
Succulents are good.
Overwatering those is one of the biggest mistakes. So I think succulents are good to go because you know, you can kind of set it and forget it.
Well, no, I've killed those too. Sorry. I'm better with fake.
I'm trying to be encouraging here, Courtney. All right, well, as always, if you would like to visit any of our guests or get in touch with Ashley, who we featured today, you can visit the Scene on Houston Life section of our website, houstonlife.tv.
Good information for sure. Coming up, J.J. Watt, you know, he was on Jimmy Fallon last night. Hear what he had to say about the Texans trade rumors.
And we'll get a check of what Keith, Christine, and Frank have coming up for the news at 4 when Houston Life returns in just 2 minutes.
Well, welcome back to Houston Life. I'm Courtney Savala along with Derek. And of course, it's just about 3:30 on this Wednesday.
Who knew?
Flies by.
Time flies. All right, so earlier we asked you to share the weirdest thing or things you've ever transported in your cars. And oh, wow, we got some great answers. Brenda writes in $25,000 worth of Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, wow.
Wish that was coming to my house. I had a van, and when it was finally loaded, the tires were bulging and barely had room for my 2 kids. They had to lay on top of the boxes, which were stacked almost to the roof. But they made it.
Yes.
Go, Brenda. Made it safe and sound.
Hashtag mom duties right there for sure. Okay. Jeanette. Leo for a vet appointment. Leo is an alligator.
Leo's adorable.
How cute.
Super cute.
Oh, my word.
Jeanette, we've got to know more about the story of Leo. Amanda writes in, a kayak on the roof of my Toyota Camry went from the front hood to past the trunk. Oh. My love of fishing will not be denied because I don't have a truck.
I love it.
Good for you, Amanda.
That is awesome. And Carol writes in, a family of snakes. My son was in elementary school. He took them to school for a show and tell. On the way home, their cage opened and got loose in my car. Pulled over, spent a very long time looking for them, finally gave up, and never did find said snakes.
No.
Oh, my word, Carol.
Okay, that's kind of creepy.
Totally
What if
creepy.
they crawled up underneath, like behind the glove compartment, and then found their way through?
Do you know this one time we were getting our AC redone, and there was a kitten in my front yard?
Oh.
And it belonged to the guy driving the van for the AC company who lived in Sugar Land, and his cat had kittens, and that cat rode at the bottom of that van from Sugar Land into Houston. It was his kitten.
And it was okay?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Wow. A lot of animals find their way in because it's warm, especially in colder months of the year.
This was like August, but, you know,
okay.
It was warm.
Well, glad Kitty was okay. Wanted to be warmer next to the engine.
Absolutely. You never know the stories we're going to get here. We love hearing from our viewers as well. We're going to check in now with Keith, Christine, and Frank for a look at what they have coming up in just about 30 minutes.
Y'all, my palms are sweating about the snakes on the loose in the car. I would not be able to drive the car anymore.
Yeah, it's like sold, want it, free, take it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing ever happened to it, guys. Take it.
Can I tell you one? Can I tell you one?
Yes, please.
I have a friend from here, and his mom passed. And she lived in Florida. And it cost a lot of money to transport a body from Florida. Yeah.
No.
He took his Suburban.
Frank? No.
Took his Suburban. He drove to Miami. He drove her back.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
My word.
Y'all started it.
Yeah.
I'm just playing the game.
I hope the air conditioning was on full blast for that trip.
You all have made me. You make me reveal too much, more than I want to reveal. Frank, I have a very similar story.
Are you going to top that? Because
No,
now I'm
well,
worried.
I don't know if he's going to top it, but so one of my really good college friends, I still keep in touch with him. He went back to his home country, and he had to transport his dad's body to his house where they could have the ceremony. That's just how they do it in his country. And I was like, okay, you got to tell me. I mean, what was it like? He was like, it was just Dad, you know. And I was like, wow.
I feel like this has taken a really morbid turn.
Wow. The places we
Frank
go.
brought it out of me. I'm sorry. I didn't want to say it.
I feel like I know y'all so much better now.
I'd rather do that than an alligator any day. Just
Alligator
personal.
was so cute, though.
I know.
Was cute.
Yeah,
Okay.
alligators can bite, yes.
I don't even know how we pivot that to weather, but Frank, you're up, my friend.
He started it.
Okay, we have transported some nice, clear, cool air in here, that's for sure. Abacus camera, look at that sky. Right now, the winds, it's breezy out there. North at 22 downtown, 16 southwest, 22 in Galveston. But we won something, 68, 68, 68. It's colder north, 49 in Dallas, 35 in Oklahoma City. So that front really came in, scoured out the fog in Galveston. Thank goodness you had a soupy overnight. Right now, just some partly cloudy skies and cool as we go into the evening. Some chilly dogs, 67 at 4, 59 by 6, 56 at 7. So it's going to be a cool overnight. Grab a jacket. You'll need it until Saturday. And then we have another front of that, and also Groundhog Day is upon us. And I want to mention, back out to the west, look at these snow amounts, forecasting 5 to 10 feet of snow. I blogged about this today, so check it out at clicktohouston.com. It's called an atmospheric river, and it's about to just really dump on California. It's going to be a serious, serious situation.
All right, Frank, we appreciate the update there. Thank you. Here's some look at some of the other stories we're covering for our newscast at 4 o'clock today. We're following up on the man accused of shooting and wounding a Harris County Sheriff's deputy yesterday. We have learned the suspect was out on bond and is a habitual offender, bringing to light yet again the issue of bonds in Harris County.
Plus, this month's deadly Capitol riots prompting a new warning by the Department of Homeland Security. What we're learning about their concern.
And plus, important information for parents about hand sanitizer. Many more people have been using it since the pandemic began, but we're going to tell you about a new concern for children regarding hand sanitizer. So lots to talk about coming up at 4 o'clock, you guys.
Absolutely. And here's something to talk about now. I know that you guys are all big number 99 fans. J.J. Watt, did you see him on Jimmy Fallon last night?
No,
he stayed up late. But, you know, Fallon asked him about basically the trade rumors for the Texans. And take a listen. Here's what he had to say.
I processed it by going to Hawaii for a week, and I probably should have stayed there.
In other words, he didn't address it. He basically, I mean, he's a smart guy, right? Yeah. We love him. Of course, he was drafted #1 draft pick for the Texans in 2011. He's been here for 10 years. I think he should just stay here. I know it's a tough time to be a Texans fan right now. A Houston sports fan.
He's just an overall good guy for the city.
He is.
Gosh, yeah,
He really is.
Hopefully he'll stay if Deshaun is happy. Deshaun won't be happy unless they hire the right coach, so they got to hire the right coach, and I think we're going to be okay.
I like the optimism.
But what about these rumors, though, that he could go to Green Bay and play with his 2 brothers? Because that would be pretty incredible to have 3 brothers playing on the same team.
That's true.
But we would lose JJ, so
I know.
So we don't want to talk about it.
Why don't we? Can we get them to come here?
Oh,
well,
my gosh, yes.
Franklin.
That's the solution.
There's an idea.
Hey,
I know. We got to keep the big guys intact for sure. But I do like it. JJ's real funny, and they had a good time on Fallon. So we'll see you guys in less than 30 minutes at 4.
All right, sounds good. See you then.
Okay, you know, it is happy hour here at Houston Life.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Soon we will have a glass. We're going to highlight a bottle of red that's certified sustainable, and it made the Wine Spectator Top 100 list.
Oh, can't wait to try it. Now let's check in with Joe Sam, who's been hanging out, finding a little zen this afternoon. Joe, how's it going? Well, every Wednesday, we're going to have something to toast because the Houston Life Wine Club is back. And in case you're wondering what that is, this started when? Last summer, last fall? It must have been last summer.
It was last summer.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and many of you have already signed up for this on our website. Many of you got our little insulated wine glass giveaway. And the good news is there are more giveaways ahead and all kinds of reasons you'll want to sign up.
Including an opportunity to be featured on Houston Life for our Wine Club Wednesday.
Virtual tastings.
Yes, that can happen. And today's featured wine is under 25 bucks. It's a light-bodied, sustainable, dry red and can be found at your local H-E-B. This is the label. We are talking about 2018 Stoller Family. I've seen this label many times. This is a Pinot Noir from Oregon, and basically Oregon is known for Pinot Noirs. They're known for the red grape, and it's Pinot Noirs are kind of that beautifully full body red, but it doesn't have like the hang time. I'm obviously not a sommelier, but that's how I explain a Pinot Noir. It's a little bit easier to drink.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. You should take a sip. Sorry I didn't wait for you. Cheers.
No, it's all good.
So what I like about this label, too, it's 24 bucks. So maybe it's not something that people are going to be pounding every night after dinner. But if you need to pick up a nice bottle of wine, you're going to a dinner party something, or you're doing I don't know, a socially distant Zoom wine tasting, this might be a good choice.
I think so, and it's great. Think about Valentine's Day, though. If you're going to plan a nice family dinner or, you know, a dinner at home, this is a lovely bottle. And I sometimes think, too, I really like a red wine when it's chilly outside, and so this is that perfect kind of balance, I think, for Houston, a Pinot Noir, because it's not very heavy, and if you're mostly a rosé or a white wine drinker, I say start with a Pinot, because it's like you get to taste the flavors of the grapes.
You sound like a wine expert to me. You really do.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
There are a couple notes that I do want to read about this. So you already mentioned that it made the Wine Spectator Top 100 list, but it's also the first LEED Gold certified winery in the world. So that means it's certified sustainable, herbicide free, which is great because as long as you're drinking, you might as well drink the healthy good stuff.
Absolutely, and I've seen this this label before. I've never had the Pinot Noir and the rest of their label, quite honestly. But I love that it's at H-E-B. And when you buy wine at H-E-B, it's great because they have their picks and they tell you the rating on the wine. And it's great because you don't have to spend a ton of money to get a really good bottle of wine.
Yeah, it's true, and you can grab some flowers on your way out the door. Well, if you haven't yet joined our wine club and you would like to, poured by H-E-B, just visit our website to register. You'll have access to exclusive giveaways, and you'll even have a chance to be part of those virtual tastings, Courtney, that you mentioned. We've had a good time with our wine club.
We have. Remember that Veuve Day? That was fabulous. Veuve like love.
Veuve like love. It rhymes. Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. As a reminder, you can find the 2018 Stoller Family Pinot Noir at your local H-E-B.
And from wine to a good workout, there are plenty of ways you can wind down.
Joe Sam is learning a few yoga techniques that are said to help you relieve some stress. Okay, Joe, how's it going?
So it's going pretty well, probably for everybody in here, Courtney and Derek. Not so much for me because I haven't gotten up to the level that these guys are at. But you can see they're doing some traditional yoga poses down here, which you would normally see. It's called the pigeon, correct?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing on the ground. And you'll see the difference between them doing that on the ground here, and they actually took those moves to these hammocks and put them in the air. So I have here the owner, Amanda, to explain to us what's the difference between the two different moves, doing it on the ground traditionally and then incorporating aerial workouts into it.
Sure, yeah, so the aerial variation is, I think it's just a little more user-friendly, honestly. You could probably pull the room and get feedback on that, but we're just folding the leg and taking the pressure off of the knee and the ankle joint in the air.
And this is something that helps out a lot of those older people that may be struggling with maybe back pain or anything else that may be a little bit harder for them to do when they're thinking about trying out yoga. This is something that you would suggest for them to come and do first, correct?
Absolutely, yeah, and this is a great exercise for releasing tight hips. So, so many of us that have been sitting a lot, I think,
Yes.
in the pandemic.
Through quarantine.
Yeah, quarantine life. So this really just helps counter effect all of the things that happen when you're sitting. And if you have an older knee or any kind of injuries, this is a low impact variation. It's like the swimming of yoga. We take it off of our wrists and off of our ankles and our joints and we put it in the air. So it just feels a lot better. And like this variation that you see Jess doing, that's a very challenging variation for many people to do. So in the air, something similar to that in the air, Beverly can demo this. Just going into and getting upside down, that's a similar variation. Same stretching happening here, but without the same pressure on her knees.
Wow, absolutely amazing. Like I said, this is something that I have to work up to. So I'm good just staying on the ground for now. But like you suggested, probably doing something better in the air will leave some more of that pressure off of you. There are some great ways that people can participate in this here. Tell us how we can do so for anyone that's interested in coming and checking this out at Republic Aerial Yoga.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we have all of our information is available on republicaerialyoga.com. What I advise all of our people that are new to the studio to do is take advantage of our new client specialists. So we have 14 class passes that are good for 2 weeks, and that's only $45. It's a great way to start. We also have intro classes for beginners, and so those are only 30 minutes long, and that's wonderful too.
Perfect. So we're going to have all that information on how you can get involved. I'm going to go and try and work on a few more of my moves in this here. I don't think I'm going to be able to do just as much as they can, though, because I'm not as experienced as they are here, Courtney and Derek. But we're going to try and get our yoga on as much as we can. But we're going to send things back to you for now. Don't laugh at me. I'm not the best.
Flexibility will come along, slowly but surely. Thank you, Joe. Now let's turn it over to Lauren Kelly, who had the chance to chat with some stars from the hit NBC Chicago shows. Lauren?
Derek, I am chatting with these folks for tonight for Chicago Wednesdays. That's coming up this evening. Cast members from Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD. Do not move. Houston Life will be right back. One Chicago is back with 3 of our favorite NBC shows, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD. I got to chat with stars Marlene Barrett, Alberto Rosende, and Jason Beggy ahead of tonight's all-new episodes.
I will say that out of all of the 3 shows, Med, Fire, and PD, guys, I think we can all agree that Marlene has the easiest dress code with scrubs only, right? Like, it's kind of unfair.
I do, actually. Because Fire has all this gear that they get to wear, and Jason just wears tight jeans and a sexy gun.
That's the thing. I will tell you that it's a battle. They always put these jeans. I say, why don't you just paint them on?
We have to give the audience what they want, Jason. If the tight jeans painted on is what they want, then that's, by golly, what you should keep doing.
Well, okay. Okay.
Alberto, I'm coming to you. Chicago Fire. We all know that fire department equipment is crazy heavy. It takes a lot of training to even kind of wear the gear and move around in it. Is that something that you had to practice before taking the role in the show?
Well, the cool thing is they definitely put us through a course to kind of familiarize with us with that. I actually got to spend a day at the academy with cadets. Thankfully, there are plenty of people on set who are either still firefighters, were firefighters. They place tremendous attention to making sure that we're using things correctly.
All 3 shows are so hands-on, and they have so many professionals teaching you guys exactly how each job is done. It's so awesome, and especially with the frontline workers, each of you have such a big part, I feel, in the last year, even more so, especially Jason being as part of the police force. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's a big responsibility because it's obviously a very tricky and political kind of a situation, and all we can do is our best to try and show all viewpoints.
Marlene Barrett, you are Maggie Lockwood on Chicago Med, Alberto Rosende, Blake on Fire, and Jason Beggy, of course, Hank Voight on Chicago PD. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time. We love what you do. We love Chicago Wednesdays. We can't wait to start the new season right here on KPRC. All right, y'all, Happy New Year. Stay safe and healthy for us, okay?
Thank you. You too.
You know what I love about their cast is that they're all so united all the time.
Right.
And they're so easy to talk to. Courtney, you did a bunch of fun things with them before.
I did. I actually was in Chicago for their One Chicago Day. This is the very first time when the 3 episodes basically merged, or the 3 platforms. I mean, Tyler Kinney. I mean, it was so much fun. We got to go on the set there in Chicago. But you are so right. They're very real. They're always accessible. And they're all good buddies. And by the way, the fire teams, I mean, like, they are wearing full gear.
Yeah, I mean, and they're climbing the ladders.
Yes.
They're going in. I remember you pulling somebody out. Didn't you do the training?
I did. It was crazy. It was so much fun, though.
The heat and the smoke, even the med and the PD, I think that they're so perfectly cast. It's really nice to see them all when they come together. Honestly.
Absolutely.
I just love them.
We have a very nice NBC family. We've talked about this on the show many times, but to our viewers, I mean, it's so great meeting these cast members and just realizing they're regular folks who happen to be super nice and super talented as well.
Super good looking, too. I mean,
that doesn't hurt.
Really
I love the painted on jeans comment, Lauren.
I mean, if you're going to do it, you may as well show it off if you can, right? I mean, good for him. Jason,
give the people what they want.
Also, I just want to point out that when Courtney did the training and you did the paramedics training, you failed.
I did fail. I killed somebody. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, it was not good. It wasn't the paramedics. It was part of med. So I was in the operating room and having to give somebody chest compressions.
Oh.
Very bad.
You didn't do,
I sang it.
Staying alive.
Yeah.
With straight arms.
Yeah, we sang the song. It was just I was too fast and I was too slow, and so it was a disaster.
We know where you should just stay. You're just perfect right there.
We'll stay in my lane.
Well, it's definitely going to be a big night for Chicago fans, and don't forget to catch all the drama starting at 7 o'clock tonight right here on KPRC2.
A lot of fun. Lauren Kelly, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
After the break, a look at what's coming up on tomorrow's show, including a sit-down with KPRC2's Roseanne Aragon.
And for now, let's check in with Kevin Frazier for a look at what is coming up on entertainment tonight. Hey, Kevin.
Derek and Courtney, tonight on ET, I sat down with Larry King's widow, sharing emotional memories and his final moments. And also, Only We Are with Jasmine Sullivan before her Super Bowl performance. You don't want to miss it. That's tonight at 6:30 right here on KPRC2. Now, don't budge. Houston Life will be right back.
Tomorrow on Houston Life, Cypress country singer and season 4 winner of NBC's The Voice, Danielle Bradbury, reflects on her musical journey.
And we'll catch up with KPRC2 space reporter Roseanne Aragon about last month's SpaceX launch and the future of space travel.
And earlier, you know, we asked you to share your weirdest thing that you've ever transported in your car. The conversation is great online. Let's check in with Susan, because Susan writes in, a live bat. It was apprehended in my living room and taken to a wooded area a couple of miles away.
Oh, wow.
Glad you were able to get it out.
And a good Samaritan there, Susan. Kim writes in, yesterday I got this guy, had to get him home safe. Wait, what?
It's a lamb.
Is it a plastic lamb?
Oh, maybe it's for the
wow.
nativity scene.
Sorry, I have bad eyes. I couldn't quite see it.
Oh, my God. Terrible. Kristen writes in, a live sea squid when I lived in Florida Keys. It crawled out of the container while I was driving.
Oh, I hate it when that happens, Kristen. I've had the same problem. And Cherie writes in, an antique sewing machine cabinet in the backseat of my convertible Mustang. Had to put the top down to get in there. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's good. And Gina writes, a stranger. I'm going to need more information, Gina. Oh, well, that was like an applause.
It was a surprise. Surprise, there's music playing.
Surprise.
Oh, wow. Well, cheers to you, my friend.
What happened to the water? Where's your water jug?
My water jug is on the other side of the set, but don't worry, I'll drink the whole thing before bedtime.
Fabulous. Cheers to you and Wine Club Wednesday. This has been fabulous.
Yeah, cheers to our Houston Life Wine Club, poured by HEB. And this Pinot Noir, it really was great. So if you need to pick up a bottle, $24, and you can visit our website, houstonlife.tv, if you'd like to sign up and join. We do have a lot of fun, virtual tastings and giveaways.
Absolutely. Everybody loves a good giveaway and a newsletter and all kinds of fun stuff. So you never know when you can be on TV, too, because we're going to have you guys part of our virtual tastings every now and then. So it's great. You know what tomorrow is? Friday Eve. So cheers to that.
Oh, cheers to Friday Eve. It's never too early to start talking about the weekend. Also, many of you have been asking about how Tex is doing. He's around the building. We've actually spent a bunch of time with him today. He had to go, I think he had to go out on a shoot or something, so he was unable to make the show, but we're going to do our best to get him on Houston Life a little more often.
He's a little bit more sleepy than he was. You know, he's just kind of sleepy dog now.
I think he's still not a fan of that new haircut.
No, doesn't like the new haircut.
I know. Dogs, you know,
they can feel it.
They can feel it when they get a bad haircut.
All
so
right.
we're going to hand it on over to Studio A ahead of KPRC 2 News at 4. Hi, guys.